everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Champion Spotlight. I am your host, Dr. Megan Brown. And as always, I have another champion here with us today. So we are going to be talking about his business. We're going to be talking about the Raise Your Game program, what it is, a physical, mental, nutritional, and goal-setting program to help you become a champion in life. And Mr. Michael Ashford is here today to tell us about how he's become a champion in life and how he'll help you become a champion in life too, especially for you dads out there. So Michael, he is actually the founder of Fit Dad Fitness. He also has a podcast. He does coaching on that as well, all while being a full-time marketing director at a software company. So Michael, welcome to the show. How you doing today?
Well, thank you so much. And if you're going to call me Mr. Michael Ashford, I'm going to call you Dr. Brown. So
there you go. There you go.
Thank you so much for having me on, Megan. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'm glad you're here. As always on the Champion Spotlight, I reach out to people that I think are doing awesome things, and not just in the fitness industry, but yours happens to be. And, I was actually Googling, families and fitness, and your name popped up, and I was like, hey, I'm going to reach out to him. Let's talk a little bit, and let's bring some spotlight to you. So can you tell us, a little bit about your business and what you're all into these days?
Well, you finding me by Google tells me that I'm a pretty good marketer, I guess. That's my full-time job. I started Fit Dad Fitness back in 2015 when my wife and I actually both became certified personal trainers at the same time. I've actually been really involved in my health and fitness since 2012. So 8+ years now, we're really being dedicated to being total body healthy, that is spiritually, mentally, physically, and that encompasses all of everything in terms of the physical, the nutrition side, the exercise side, the recovery side. All of that plays into what I consider to be a healthy and well person. And I really have a heart for fathers. I have a fantastic father. Really was a lot of the inspiration ultimately behind myself getting healthy. He was a bodybuilder all growing up, so naturally I would flow into the bodybuilding world as well, although never went on stage like he did. But I see so many of the issues that I think we in a society are faced with every single day stem from a lack of involved fathers, whether that is physically uninvolved or emotionally uninvolved. There's a dearth of men stepping up into that role of a father to guide and lead and set the example for their children. And I think physical fitness and health is a foundation that can be the jumping off point for fathers to be more involved in their children's lives. So many men tie a lot of their identity into their health and fitness or getting healthy or looking a certain way. And you know what? That's my Trojan horse. If I can present that as, hey, let's do this, I think I can help set you up for being a better and equipping you to be a better father. Ultimately, that's my goal.
Awesome. So do you find that kind of breaking into that, reaching out to fathers or trying to get them to reach out to you, do you find that that's pretty difficult? Because I know, a lot of guys kind of have that like, oh, I can do it all myself. I don't need help from anyone kind of thing. But how have you kind of broken down that stigma a little bit?
You know what? It is hard for guys to reach out and ask for help. And there is kind of this, I'm going to pick myself up by my bootstraps and figure this out, where I think a lot of men and fathers get disillusioned in the fitness space is they are constantly told, no excuses, suck it up, just get it done. If I can do it, you can do it. And the reality is, as fathers and as parents, not just fathers, but mothers as well, we have excuses. They're very legitimate excuses. They're responsibilities and commitments that we as parents and as spouses have to other people that we're charged with taking care of. We have soccer practices, and we have to put food and on the table and clothes on our kids' back and have a house that they can come home to. The enormity of the burden on a parent and on a father is absolutely an excuse. So there's a lot of that message being perpetrated in the health and fitness space of your excuses don't matter. You just need to suck it up and find it away. Right. And for me, I think most of the guys that come to me who say, I'm ready to work with a coach, I'm ready to work with somebody to help me figure this out, are just so exasperated by that. And I'm trying to present a message to them of, we can work this in. It doesn't have to look like what you think it has to look like, what you're being given this message of what health and fitness needs to look like from some 20-year-old fitness bro on Instagram.
Right.
Who has no responsibilities other than going to the gym and looking awesome with, 8-pack abs. So my message to them is, we can fit this in. We can prioritize some things. We can help you take stock of where your life is at and where you've placed your priorities. And can we, by shifting things little by little, moving things here and there, and yes, stepping up and making a commitment and having some level of accountability, we can make radical changes that ultimately can help you lead the life you want to lead, and not let you miss out on experiences. That's my ultimate goal. Is I never want my body or any of my clients' bodies to limit them from experiencing life with their family. And if I can help that, my job's done.
Yeah, and I think, just touching a little bit what you're saying on the accountability aspect, sometimes I feel like, and this, this isn't just for dads, but like you said, for parents even, and even children, sometimes we feel like we have all these burdens, or we have all these expectations of us, and we can't do what we want to do because we have all these other expectations or these responsibilities. With the Raise Your Game program, and especially with the quiz that I have a lot of people do before they even come and talk to me, we go through those different physical, mental, nutritional, and goal setting. And, I think you touched on it great when you said, am I doing a lot of things that I'm doing now because other people want that of me, versus what do I want of myself, and what kind of, again, legacy do I want to leave for my kids, or how do I want them to be when they're adults? How can I help them to shape that vision? And I think, just based on what you're saying already, is you have to kind of find that balance and find where things help. You can't always set aside 45 minutes to go to the gym when you have, a toddler here and a baby over here, and, you're doing all these things. But, I think how you're kind of shaping things for people, I think that's the hugest part of it, is just finding them on that path and being like, all right, I'm going to help you kind of shape this snowman almost so we can get it where you want to go.
And it can go too far the other way. Like, let's be very clear. I call it the dad's noble cause, where look at me. They almost take on this martyr mentality. Like, look at me. I'm so busy taking care of everyone else's needs and making sure I'm the provider for the family that I just don't have time for myself. Like, I can't figure it out. I can't squeeze it in. That's when it goes too far in the other direction, and it becomes, like I said, this dad's noble cause. That it sounds good. Like, on the surface, you're never going to argue with that. Well, yeah, of course, like, take care of your family. You're doing the right thing. But honestly, I keep telling men, like, you've got to have a longer term perspective. What good is this life that you're building and these things that you're putting in place if you're not around to experience it with your family? If you pass away at age 55 from a heart attack, like, what good is building the life that you always have dreamed of if you don't get to experience it? And that's why I continually go back to, I never want my body to limit me from experiencing life with my family for as long as I possibly can affect.
Yeah. And, just going off that point, and we kind of talked on it briefly, but I lost my dad when he was young. He was 45, but he was in shape. Like, he was in the military. He worked out all the time. And unfortunately, he did have a lot of stress in his life. And I think that was something he was always worried about. Can I provide? Can I provide? Can I provide? And, maybe if he had the kind of support that you're offering, these fathers, that he could still be alive today. You never know. But it's one of those things, like, do you want to risk it? Do you want to risk it, or do you want help?
And understand, like, things are going to happen. Like, we can't control for every circumstance. There's nothing that I can really do that could control if I, got in a car accident and something freak happened. I understand that. And I would never want to shame anybody into thinking that they have control over those, of every single situation or circumstance in their life. And that's why I always add in the caveat, as much as I possibly can affect, I want to do those things and let the rest of the chips fall where they may.
Yeah. And I think it's great, especially for fathers that have young sons, to be showing them this kind of mental fortitude and being like, look, son, you don't have to do all this all the time by yourself. Like you said, you don't have to tough it out all the time. You don't, crying is okay. Being emotional is okay. That's just an expression of being a human being. And, working with a lot of youth athletes, that's something that they don't get taught early on. And then so they start building these walls and they start shutting down, and then their health deteriorates and their mental health deteriorates. And that's something that I think us as adults, I'm not a parent right now, but one day when I want to be a parent, then I will be, and I want to be able to pass that kind of stuff on. But I think that it's important, especially for parents now, to realize the things that you do, your kids are watching, no matter what it is. They're watching physical, mental, nutritional, goal setting, how you talk to other adults. So the stuff that you're doing is really powerful. And I think it can it's just going to keep having ripple effects.
It's so true. And I see my role, I guess, as a parent, and I've never actually verbalized it this way, but I never want my kids to get to the point of desperation. Like, there are so many guys that come to me where they're at that point of just sheer desperation. I have tried everything, or I'm so far gone. It's so overwhelming of where to start. And if you, as a parent, mother or father, aren't thinking of those things and aren't addressing those things early and often as your child is in your home and growing up, that's when eventually desperation sets in. And it doesn't even have to just be physical. If like you were talking about, if your kids are not allowed to express emotion, they can eventually grow into very distanced and very disenchanted adults, and their relationships suffer, and they never have any meaningful friends. They never have any meaningful relationships. And eventually they get to the point of desperation where it can go into some really dark places. If you never feel like you can connect with somebody because you are an emotional bottle, like it's so much more than the physical. And I chose to focus on the physical because I think there are so many other benefits that flow out of being physically healthy. Like, the capability and the confidence that you feel of being physically healthy carries over into work life and home life and your love life, like just so many other areas. I choose to focus on the foundation of fitness, but it is so much bigger than that. And I never, like I said, I haven't verbalized it this way, but I never want my kids to get to that point of desperation for as much as I can guide and lead them in that direction.
Yeah. And I mean, you said it perfectly. Sometimes physical is the way to reach people. Sometimes the mental is the way to reach people. Sometimes nutrition. And there's no one size fits all, but at the end of the day, all of those things combine. And we do have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves on all of those different planes. So, I think, again, I love the stuff that you're doing, and I think it's great that you're reaching out to dads, especially because I know dads want to be hard asses sometimes, but it's okay to be loving teddy bears also, and to love themselves especially. So can you leave us with a couple words of encouragement kind of on that champion's motivation and mindset that you are displaying so awesomely for dads?
I'm going to phrase this directly speaking to men, but it applies to everyone. A champion to me looks like an involved man. And it looks like a man who puts the needs of others before himself in wanting to serve them as much as possible. And you can't do that from an unhealthy place. It's always, there are the cliches that are tossed about there. You can't fill someone else's cup from an empty vessel. You put your mask on before you assist the child. Like, there's all these cliches that are thrown out there. But for me, being an involved man, being a stand-up, morally sound guy starts with being in selfless service to someone else, to the other people in your life where they matter most to you. But it starts with making sure that you've got yourself right, that you feel right about yourself, that you feel healthy, that you're coming from a healthy place spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. And that starts, again, I think, with fitness. I think if you just work on your health and fitness, everything else flows out from that. And being empathetic to somebody's situation, understanding that their situation is not yours, and meeting them where they're at in all situations, not just health and fitness. But that to me is the mindset of a champion, someone who sees their purpose as being in selfless service to others and being able to empathize that other people have different experiences than you, and you can meet them where they're at to help them succeed every bit as much as you can succeed, if that makes sense.
Perfect. Yeah, for sure. Perfectly said. Perfectly said. And, again, for everyone listening out there, if you have questions, Michael's going to tell us how to get in contact with him, but also take the Raise Your Game Champions quiz at RaiseYourGame.club. And if you're in the Jacksonville area, I can help you. I also do things now, obviously, in times of COVID, telehealth wise as well. I'm sure Michael does too.
Absolutely.
But Michael, can you let everyone know how to get a hold of you, how to reach out?
Yeah, the hub of everything that I do is fitdadfitness.com. And you can always email me, Michael, at fitdadfitness.com if you want to directly connect with me. I'm on Instagram at fitdadfitness, on Facebook at fitdadfitness page. And I did write a book called The Involved Man, a call for men to step up and fight for the things that matter most. And you can find that at theinvolvedman.com.
Awesome. Well, we might have to exchange books then. I'll send you some of my journals and you can send me that one.
I can do that.
Awesome. Well, Michael, again, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. And I encourage anyone watching, listening today to reach out to Michael, especially you dads out there, because you are not alone in your journey either.